Oh, yeah.
So there.
Right. I think one of the aide who kind of got him more recently in trouble with the report of harassment said something like he was, as his assistant, responsible for booking all of his romantic engagements, and that it was I don't know, maybe like misuse of public funds or misuse of his position, or made him uncomfortable at the lead. Yeah, drinking like a fish. Yeah, that's been heard of. Oh, he was
Well, not Nick Fish.
not Nick.
Like Big Fish.
No, drinking. Yes, yes. Poor Nick. I got to. His wife is a lovely person, I assume. Phyllis Schechter, I think. She's a professor at Portland State University.
That's how we got him.
Yeah.
We got her. And then he came out a year later.
This girl I met was doing a conference to educate the high schoolers on sexual assault, and she was a speaker there, and I got to be a speaker too. And then I just completely forgot that I did that for several years. And I'm like, wait a minute, I was a speaker at a conference, but I was. And I spoke the same time as Schechter, so I couldn't go see her speech. But I'm sure it was interesting.
Wow.
These high...
We were competing speakers.
Yeah, I was like sort of standing within elbow space of her too. It was 2014. It was kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, humans. I never met Chloe Yu Daly. I should maybe return to Portland one day. I don't know. I don't know why though. I don't like it.
I got to see, she was, it's too bad that one of my things that is on your blog is me saying that body language, Mayor Charlie Hales and County Commissioner Deborah Kapori again cringed when I mentioned that the Kapori Court apartments were vacant. Unfortunately, body language, blah, 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 blah. The cringing doesn't get anything done, you know what I mean?
You know what I used to do that used to kind of freak Portland City Council out, I think, a little bit? Is because I was so used to the fact that they might just delete testimony, kick us out, or do whatever. I would bring my camera, and I had a few good cameras, but one of them would like sit more properly, so I would just sit it on the ledge and record their faces as I talked. And it did like a Hawthorne effect on them where they knew they were being observed, so I was filming whether or not they were paying attention. And so my speech is an audio over their faces. And particularly Saltzman would crack me up. Like there was one time I think I would always say that Saltzman's face appeared to be falling off, like the skin was falling off the bone. He'd be like, like, oh my goodness. And so I have a lot of Nick Fish face. And then, yeah.
Unlike Kurt Cobain, I don't think it's going to go for $1,000 a minute.
I know, right? I think at the time I told Mayor Hales not to interrupt me, I believe what happened with Nick Fish's posture, which I got probably from like 2 camera angles plus being there in the flesh, but he got whoa, Mary Ann just told the mayor not to interrupt her. And I slipped into a military mode that I think is from my dad or something, but I go like, don't interrupt me, sir. I so fucking did that to the Mayor Hales. I was like, don't interrupt me, sir. And I think calling him sir startled him. So he just like, he was trying to interrupt my testimony on the reservoir, which he got really slimy towards the end of his regime with his like, I'm just going to interrupt you with the matter of protocol, take all your minutes, okay, bye, didn't have to listen to you, bye. And he was just doing time-wasting stuff, and I was like, over it, stop stealing our 3 minutes. Like, we know what you're doing. He acted like a little 3-year-old kid that was stealing another candy. And I was like, Mayor Hales, we see what you're doing. You're interrupting, you're stonewalling, you refuse to listen to the people. It was, he would try to, like, do a lot of like, well, you're stepping outside the parameters of what you are allowed to say, that kind of thing. Oh, hey, guess what? There's some coronavirus stuff with like missing doctors and missing activists, or people being requisitioned to be quarantined who don't have it, but maybe they also need to be assassinated, so it just works out cleverly, and then nobody knows where they are. And when I say need to be assassinated,
It's got an evil regime, and you also have a contagious viral disease. You can just say anybody that you want, like you're Hitler, and that's what they died from. Or just expose them to it. What the fuck?
yeah, this guy, he was an activist in Hong Kong. He said things he was not allowed to say about Hong Kong, so he already had his social media all shut down. So he was evidently saying things he wasn't allowed to say about coronavirus. So now he's been disappeared as of like 4 days ago or something. And then one of the doctors, same.
Yeah, we're lamenting the doctor that kind of gave the first heads up, and then they sanctioned him. They prosecuted him, and he died from it. He died from the coronavirus, but he was the first one to say, "Hey, we get this really nasty shit going on here," and the Chinese authorities retaliated against him for speaking out against it.
Right. I like do you know Radio Free Liberty, right? Radio Free Europe. They're on Twitter.
Yeah, for Europe, yeah.
Yeah, they're on Twitter. I mean, they're kind of great. They kind of remind me what it's all about.
Radio Free Europe? Wasn't that the CIA?
Oh yeah, I forgot. No, I totally, yeah, they've got Radio Free Europe / Radio Liberty is what they're calling it, RFERL. But what did they report on? Like, basically assassinations. Not in America. They would never report that, but, gotta stick to what they're good at, right? Pointing out the corruption elsewhere. What do they've got? Suitable donors, women in science and technology, Lithuanian intelligence get hold of details on Russian FSB officer, couple faces charges for wedding photos. Okay, 5 years ago. Ukraine to airlift 50 citizens out of Wuhan as coronavirus death toll exceeds 1,000. Okay. Ethnic Dungan's word.
Hey, how about this? How about this
Kazakhstan.
for what I haven't done other than mentally?
Uh-huh.
With Ebola, I was really regretting how I didn't keep the death count. But here we are. We know that the coronavirus has hit south, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I haven't been writing on my calendar. I don't have a calendar.
Right.
I should have a calendar. Like today's like the day 1,000.
Right.
The coronavirus is going to kill 1 billion people.
We're recording, and it's like my morbid sense of humor, I'm trying to keep it under control just because I don't want my morbid sense of humor highly publicized. It's just, there's nothing very funny about it.
Mary, 1 billion ain't shit, okay? That's 1 in 7, think about it.
Uh-huh. The Princess Cruise Line has 174, the boat people.
Look how much more room you're going to have on the bus, especially if you're dead.
So we're at 1,100 as of 5 minutes ago.
What?
1,100 coronavirus death toll surpasses 1,100. Live update, CNN 5 minutes ago.
So it was an extra 100 today.
Uh-huh. Oh, this is so cool. I can see my computer screen on the reflection of the mirror of the stove. I'm so amused. Okay.
What do you know about the Spanish flu?
Yeah, not much. Oh, is that the one that took everyone out at the beginning of the 1900s? No, that's tuberculosis.
That's the one that ended World War I.
Right. Perfect. Yeah, it was a pacifist.
No, the Germans could not proceed after it was pandemic. There's so many things. When I was a kid, one of the drinking spots was out by the cross, the old cross.
Uh-huh.
And that was a mass grave. 1917. And what it hit, it was young people. It was people like 20.
Uh-huh.
And it was a flu. It was fast acting. There's a great PBS thing. It basically came out of pigs and Kansas or something. But there were these really viral influenza type things. These viruses where it's viral. It's like, haha. No, it is a virus, but where it's really contagious, where people don't have an immunity to it, and where it becomes really a problem for our existence, is where there's a combination of life forms in a contained area that allows the critter, we'll call it, to jump from one to the other, and then you end up landing on a host that has no ability to resist it. So, the bird flu stuff is it goes from a bird to a human, or the swine flu, it goes from a pig to a human. So anyhow, they call them wet markets, where you have every possible thing going on, and you have all these critters and all these people, and then you end up having something like this coronavirus jump from one species to another species, and now the species is called Homo sapiens, and we're going to lose a billion. That ain't nothing, man. It's nothing. Who's going to go? All those people that almost ran over on the bike lane, they're right. They are so immune response deprived. They're going to get it, and they're going to, get on the max, and the people going to the airport are going to either give it to them or catch it from them.
Do you feel like, Barry, don't let me get too conspiratorial now, but do you feel like there's a coincidence with how Hong Kong is now having to respond to this virus, and it just seems to almost kind of eclipse the whole massive protest thing? Or it's merging, like the protest is just merging into a virus? Or what is going on with Hong Kong?
This is a matter of life or death. It's a matter of life or death.
Yeah.
People are just gonna die. It's gonna
Slight suspensions to Hong Kong.
When I was a kid, Mary, in 1975 or so, I went up to the VFW where we all lined up at the VFW hall to get our swine flu shots. Because it was scary as shit. We were all worried about it. So anybody that has a historical memory of life before DDT, it was lousy. I mean, literally, lice. We don't have lice. We don't have lice because we wiped all that shit out with stuff that killed all the dodo birds. Man, no. I mean, the whole reason that the DDT was a problem with making eagle eggs fragile was that it worked so good on all the shit that we wanted to get rid of. And since we're not up to our ass in it, we're happy to say that it was wrong. But people were innocently applying these things that were really, super lethal, super fun sites, built on this stuff. But, it's easy for us to judge because, I don't have bed bugs right now.
Right.
Cooties, bed bugs, jiggers,
Right.
There's so many things that were plagues on our human experience that we just don't have right now. And I think one of the things that we're going to have is a plague on our human experience because there's so many of us are vulnerable. Hunger isn't caused by scarcity, but there are plenty of people that are, nutrition deprived. There are people that are plenty calorically loaded, but are still nutrition deficient.
Or then all the obesity-related diseases, right? That's a sort of epidemic.
I don't think those people are going to do well with the coronavirus in their town.
Right.
So we think all the people are just marginalized the lethality of some of these conditions. I mean, what am I gonna do? What if I die from coronavirus? I'll never be able to get killed by a car or the max or something.
Mm-hmm.
How about this, Mary?
Mm-hmm.
I used to say that the max killed more people than Charles Manson. Now I can say Max killed more people than Jeremy Christian. Think it'll be a popular theme park ride?
Hmm.
He said Max killed more people than Jeremy Christian.
Hey,
We're up to 2 dozen.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think Jeremy Christian's trial would be so media sensationalized if it were like on the East Coast where homicide is just more of a regular, like they would just like say Chicago. If this were Chicago, would a guy taking? Because I mean, knife crime is a thing in England. I follow maybe because they don't have as many guns, but like knife crime isn't that big a deal even when it's fatal. So the way the Portland is just like essentializing it and is this normal or is it okay or is it just like a pilot study or let's talk about throat slashing or what? What's the deeper meaning? That's
why I'm there, Mary.
Yeah, okay.
You know, here's what's happened to date, right?
Right.
Okay, there's a crew, I'll call them, and I don't know all their names yet. I think one of those names is Joe. I'm narrowing them down. I don't even try to know read their name tag, but they're corrections deputies.
Uh-huh.
And at any given point, there are 3 armed corrections deputies in front of the bar. Because Jeremy Christian's there.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have handcuffs.
Wow.
He's wearing jail guard. So in front of the bar, there's the attorney table and there's the defense attorney table, Jeremy Christian, right? So the state must have got there first. No. Actually, I don't think they had a choice. I think as a matter of the status of the case, and because they have to transport the defendant, I think the defendant has the hallway side of the courtroom. And that means the state has the jury side of the courtroom. And the jury side of the courtroom is, in attorney world, considered to be the better real estate.
Mm.
Because the proximity of the people to the jury is considered to be a factor that weighs in favor of the people sitting closer to the jury. They make more of a bond. They're more likely to agree with that side because they make that bond. That's the theory, anyhow.
Wow, interesting.
So it's first come, first get. So when you go into the courtroom, the defendant table and the state table, the prosecutor table, is not decided. It's decided by the person being there first. But I think it's a matter of the defendant being a guy that's on trial for murder that comes in handcuffs. I think they have him closest to the hallway as a matter of that procedure, at the exception of, first come, first get.
I'm really thinking a lot about that, in how in Russia they do those cages. Why don't we just how much more convenient that could be? I mean, is it prejudicial to the jury to observe?
We'll just roll the guy in a cage?
Well, it's a little safer. I mean, or even safer for the, I was going to say employee, the client, the defendant, I mean, sometimes they get attacked, right? Like by the daughter of the murder victim or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that can happen. We can free them.
I think that was in the Jeffrey Dahmer trial, that the sister of one of his male sex abuse and murder victims, black, murder victim's sister just lunges at him like crazy, like she's just losing it. Like she's like, "You killed him!" Bye.
Yeah, there've been like punch attacks. I don't know if there've been any killings or knifings that I can.
In a court? No, not in. I'm not saying in a court, but I mean, yeah, a domestic violence abuser has shown up and shot his victim for a restraining order trial. A lot of good that does the victim, right?
Yeah, well, I have to get the gun. I have to get the gun in the courthouse.
Oh, you didn't come out here to country. We got some metal detectors downstairs, but we ain't got no. I don't even know if they want to work the electricity bill. Things are just all we got is taxidermy. It's down there in case somebody wants to pull it.
Okay, so here's the things we know today that we didn't know yesterday. All right,
Mm-hmm.
ready for this?
Okay.
Okay, so today witnesses at the Jeremy Christian trial were the defense witnesses.
Okay, stop and we're going to start over because 22 is our max. We're almost there.